Hello everybody, this is Milat and probably this is going to be my very first video in this channel. This channel is going to be focused mainly on applying to jobs, how to do interviews, how to write your own CV, how to find a job in the first place because it's surprisingly I've seen a lot of people not knowing about how to find a job, how to read the description, how to apply to it. And it's very strange these days that you don't know how to actually use the platforms we have, how to use the tools to actually come up with a good representation of yourself to be able to compete with other candidates. And I can say that it's quite hard because these days it's not like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, uh, for instance, in the tech industry, it was enough for you to only have some skills, some basic skills, like knowing programming languages, whatever, JavaScript, Python, and knowing a little bit about databases. That was quite enough for you to get a job, to land on a job. But these days, in the tech industry, there are a lot of titles, and it's not only about that. For instance, we have web developer, front end developer, back end developer, full stack developer, mobile application developer. We have a whole different titles in machine learning and data engineering, like data engineer, data scientist, data analytics, um, machine learning engineer, computer vision engineer, and so on. And it doesn't end, even hundreds of titles out there. So, and when it comes to those titles, it's not even that title. From company to company, the requirements are different. You need to know all kinds of stacks, all kinds of tools. So I thought maybe let me do this way in this channel because I've already created some other videos in some other YouTube channels and already talked about that. But I wanted to be focused on this area and share my experiences. It's not only my experiences. I've seen a lot of other people apply to this kind of jobs. My friends, close friends, a lot of people. I've been in contact with a lot of people all around the world through those channels, uh, helping them, you know, building their CV, how to apply for a job, and sometimes helping them for to get a job. But it was just time to time thing to do. But now with this channel, actually, I want to focus on this. And to be honest, what I'm gonna do here is mainly focusing on honest talks. I just want to share my experiences. I don't want to, you know, um, use clickbait titles or use, you know, eye-catching animations in my videos to make it, exciting. I just want to give you honest experiences, honest tips that you can actually use it to uh, look for a job. Now, a lot of you, maybe you're not looking for a job, maybe you don't want to even be an employee, you don't like it. And I completely understand that. And because at some point, me here talking behind a camera, at some point I want to, build my own business. And I'm doing some other side hustles in the side, but there are some people that they don't like to have their own business. They just want to be an employee, and there's nothing wrong with that. You want to work like 7 8 hours a day, and then you want to get paid at the end of the month, and then you want to enjoy your vacation time, and that's an amazing thing to have, especially in European countries. There are a lot of people don't care about money that much because they just want to have enough money to pay the rent, to pay the food, and to just have some fun at the end of the month. And there are a lot of people that they don't have even enough savings. And the reason for that is mainly the culture here European have. So there's nothing wrong with that, first of all. And on the other side, if you're not even looking for a job, well, maybe this channel is not for you, but at some point when you build your business, whether it is a technical business, a web application, launch a startup or whatever, or it could be, some other businesses in other industries like starting a cafe, you know, whatever the business is, doesn't matter. At some point, you need to hire some people. You need to write down your job descriptions. You need to interview people. So you need to be on the other side of the table to understand them, to be able to write a good um, job description. The problem is that a lot of people looking for a job think that the problem is only for the people who are looking for a job. On the other hand, companies have a lot of difficulties. I've seen this very closely. Um, they have a lot of difficulties finding the right person for their position. And surprisingly, when you sit in the meetings, they're saying that, oh, we can't find the right person for this position, while there have been like 300 uh, applicants applied for this position. Wow. You Because the problem is that the people applying just spamming companies, but they don't care about the job description. They don't care about what they want actually in the first place, and that's a big problem. So you need to be on both sides to understand how the system works actually. And from time to time, it changes. Maybe in 2 years, I have to change my opinion. I have to change the way I'm applying for positions right now. You know, so it's completely changing during time. For instance, 10 years ago, I explained already that 10 years ago, um, there was a boom of there was a uh, there were a lot of developers looking for a job, and there were a lot of companies looking for developers, and there was some kind of a balance between the demand and the market. So there are a lot of things I can talk about, but I just wanted to let you know that this is going to be our first video. So if you are interested in these videos, in this kind of titles, uh, I want to continue this, and I'm gonna create more videos, but make sure that you have subscribed to the channel so you don't miss the videos. And also, by writing comments, subscribing to my channel, you just give me the feedback that, okay, this is the right path for me to continue this. Otherwise, I need to start talking about other things, because there are a lot of things I can talk about, but I thought maybe this is one thing that this is a really good thing that we need to discuss about, talk about. So let's have an overview in this video, because I can talk about hours and hours about every step of the way. But in this video, let's have a quick overview of about how to find a job, how to read the job description, how to write a CV, and so on. Some basic stuff that you need to know in the very first place to actually start applying for a job. So as you can see here, I have this cool diagram. So we first of all, we need to come up with our basic CV. So, and when it comes to basic CV, there are some important things you need to know. First of all, the structure and the length of the CV, not more than 2 pages. Okay, 2 page, that's all. And I've seen recruiters, they don't have that much time, or they don't feel, they just look at the first page or maybe the first two sections, and then they decide what to do. And sometimes recruiters or the lead people, the people in charge of reading the CVs, maybe they don't feel good that day. Maybe they just um, they're tired of their job, themselves, and they just want to have a quick look at CVs. There's nothing you can do about that. You just need to come up with a good CV and put the important things in bold so that I can see it. I've seen people putting everything in the CVs, and I've seen CVs like 5 pages. You can't believe it. 5 pages. Nobody reads that. What do you think with yourself? So you need to put the most important thing in the first page and the rest of things in the second page if, when you're applying for a job. So in this channel, also I'm going to talk about applying for PhD, applying for instance, for studies, for PhD positions, especially as a researcher, as a PhD student, because I've been in both, you could say, environments or situations. And a little bit of background um, from me, I forgot to tell you about that because it's really important to know uh, how I earned these experiences. It's not enough to just turn on the camera and start talking about some things, because you can come up with some ideas that don't even work in the real world. Okay, so my name is Milat. I'm a senior data engineer in, I can say, a relatively big, well-known company in Finland. And I've been in different positions all over the place. Like, I've been a web developer, WordPress developer, I've been Drupal developer, I've been backend developer, machine learning engineer, data scientist. Over the past 10 years, I try to test all these job titles because I want to know how it works. And I had to apply for thousands of, if not thousand, hundreds of uh, job positions. And I can say, yeah, easily 1,000 job applications, job positions. So I earned these experiences through those times over the past 10 years. And also, the I came here to Finland with starting and pursuing a PhD position, a PhD study, PhD degree. And I started my first year with that, but also it was mainly about doing web development. Anyway, um, the point is that I experienced all these things. I know how it's hard to find a job these days. I know how it could be, frustrating looking for a job, not knowing what to do, and yeah, it's a difficult time. And the only thing you can do, there's one position for like 100 people. That's bad. But the only thing you can do, just show the company. There are sometimes, it's an amazing part that there are sometimes 100 people applying for a job to a company, but none of them get the acceptance. So because company, it's not mandatory for the companies to hire one person or two persons. The purpose of job positions for a lot of companies is that they created a position, and sometimes they don't even mention how many developers they want to hire, but they just want to find the good people, that matches um, their job description, the work they want to do. So if not, if there's nobody in those 100 people suitable for their job they're going to do, uh, they don't hire any of them. So first of all, it's about competing with other people, and second of all, it's competing with yourself. Because no matter how good you are, you need to compete with other people. And also, you need to be good enough for the company itself. So even if you're better than other applicants, it's not enough. You need to be useful for the company. So these 2 points are very important. I'm talking all over the place. I have this chart here. I want to talk about this diagram, but there are a lot of things you need to know. And information, there is no good information out there. Actually, I tried myself, watched hundreds of videos out there, but well, most of them are clickbaits. Most of them, they don't have a single clue how it is to be unemployed, how it is, how to how to be looking for a job. You know, it's bad that you talk about things that you don't feel. Okay, anyway, let's continue this chart quickly. I want to finish it as fast as possible, and I will go deeper and deeper in the following videos. You just need to let me know if it makes sense to you or not. So in this video, I wanted to go to actually LinkedIn to start creating the CV and all this stuff. But I guess I just want to, make this video short because it's gonna be very boring if I just talk over and over. But okay, so let me finish this chart to give you a big picture what you need to do when you start. Maybe you can even start doing today. So you need a basic draft of CV. So writing a CV is very hard when you don't have a CV, or even if you have a CV, I highly suggest that you just throw it away and start doing it from scratch. So what you need to do, you need to first of all, you need to know what you want to do in the future. What's your job you're looking for? Do you want to be a web developer, machine learning engineer, data scientist, data engineer? Because each of these positions has its own unique CV. And it's not only about that. When it comes to the job descriptions, if there are 10 different data engineer positions, each position could have their own specific uh, skills, skill set they require. Um, so first of all, in the structure, so what you need to do, you need to come up with a basic draft. Just grab a paper and pen, start writing down what you want to be, and try to list your experiences, skills, and degree. So as you can see here, uh, in a CV, when you want to create a CV, I will go deep, but not in this video. But in a CV, on a paper, I have a pen and paper here. I can test it out actually. So here's our CV. You need to divide it like this. Okay, you need to divide it like this, and from top to bottom, you need to have a summary, 2 or 3 sentences of uh, uh, about your background, about what you've done and what you want to do in future. In 2 or 3 sentences, you need to be able to introduce yourself like that. And also about skills and interests. So a lot of people don't have skills in the field they're going to apply to. Uh, it's a bit difficult to find a job without having these actual skills. But also, it's possible to add your interests as well. So, for instance, if a company is hiring a person like they want somebody with a programming language like JavaScript, and I also need somebody who's able to work with some unknown framework, you know, it's okay to add that framework to your interests. So technically, you're not lying, but also in the skills interest section. So it catches their eyes, when they look at your CV. Sometimes there are softwares actually they scan with the software that what you have in your CV. Do you have the keywords? Do you have the general uh, skills they want to have? They want you to have, and then they give the CV to the recruiter. So it's good to have it there, but when you haven't done that before, you can't just add it as my skill. Well, there is a trick here, not trick. Well, there is a way for that. How to put it? So, for instance, if you're reading a job description, what you can do if you don't have that skill at this point, what you can do, go for 2 days, start learning the basics. That easy. You can learn anything in 2 days, the basic stuff, and you can just put it in the skills section, or you can add it to interests section right away. I'm not really a fan of interests. It doesn't work that much these days. Uh, but if you're junior, looking for junior positions, if you're looking for training positions, um, it's okay. They just uh, companies like to see people with that kind of interests. They expect you not to have that skills, not to have that skill set. So it's okay. Um, so now the next section you need to have in your CV job experiences. That's the most important section in your CV when you're applying for a job. These days, companies look at your actual job experiences, and it's not only about where you worked before. What you did in those job positions is also very important, and it needs to be uh, in line with the job description. It should match the job description, and this is something I'm going to talk about in section here Tailor section here. So then the final section would be degree certifications you have. You see, degree certification is not that important, but it's relevant. And tips and tricks I'm going to tell you in this channel is not only about tech industry. Um, you can apply it to other jobs. It doesn't matter it is in tech industry or other industries. It doesn't matter if you're applying for a waitress, or if you're applying for food delivery, if you're applying for whatever. It doesn't matter. Uh, there is competition in at every level all around the world. No matter what you want to do, there is always a competition, and there is always a better person than you out there looking for the same job. So, but my examples maybe are more close to tech industry job positions. So uh, just try to think it in a way that it's suitable for your field. Okay, now I'm going to talk a lot about all these things. Actually, I'm going to show you, write down a CV step by step, but already this video is long enough. So then tailor is the most important part after the structure. These days, it's not okay to just spam companies. As I told you, they're looking for a good match for the job description, for the work they want to do. They desperately looking for people that can do the job. They pay them money, but they just want somebody that actually do the job they want. And that's why you need to read the job description very, very carefully. And you need to, sometimes it's encrypted in the job description that what they actually want from me. It's a long list of tools, long list of demands. But sometimes you need to read it multiple times to understand, okay, this tool is actually what they're looking for. So if I put it in my CV, if I have a good experience with that, I might have a better chance. Consistency. Consistency in your CV means that skills, job descriptions, degree, everything should match as as much as possible. And it also not only altogether, but also it should be a good match with the job description, as I said in the tailored section. And there are some other points, and there are some tricks these days. Well, I'm going to talk about, because even if you do all these things, maybe it's not enough, because there are a lot of other people doing this. So you need to come up with some creative techniques, creative methods to just show that you're different. And I'm going to talk about that too, but as a hint, um, the structure of CV, the way you present the information, for instance, adding a chart might be a good trick to do that, and I've already done that. I need to tell you that in my getting my last position as a senior data engineer, actually I added a chart to my CV. Okay, then it comes to job description. As I told you, you need to read it very carefully, see the important stuff, important requirements, and then after that, the next step is going to be tailoring your CV based on that job description. That's very important. And we're going to do all these things in the following videos. I just need your feedback on this video. Also, keeping the data. By keep the data, I mean that first of all, when you read the job description, try to copy and paste it, save it somewhere. Because when you apply for a job and when the job expires, the you can't find the in most cases you can't find the job description. And when you've applied to hundreds of jobs and somebody email you that okay, you got accepted for this position, I mean for the interview, you start thinking that wow, which job it is, I don't even remember this one. And you try to search in the web and well, there is no job description anymore, it's gone. So you need to have a copy of that, so when the day comes you need to have just look at the job description, okay, this was the job. Because it's really uh, weird to ask the people which what is this job you're talking about, what are the skills you need, and all these questions, because they expect you to already know what this job is about. Okay, so best place for that is Google Drive. You need to have a structure, and for when it comes to tailoring CV, you have a basic CV, a draft CV, and you need to tailor it for different job positions, job titles. And when it comes to that, what you need to do is copy and paste the CV files in Word. Basically, you can do it easily there. So that's why I highly recommend that you actually write down your CV yourself. Don't use the tools out there, because it makes it really hard to have like tens of copies of your CV. And it comes to cover and motivational letter. Well, we can talk a lot about cover and motivational letter, but in a nutshell, I can say that, well, in most cases, you don't even need it. But some say that cover letter is different from motivational letter. And yeah, there is a bit of difference between these two. But until this day, I don't know exactly what's the hard line between these two. So, but in a nutshell, I can say that when it comes to, you have your CV, all the information tailored for that job position there. Okay, so what's the point of having cover motivation letter? So sometimes they expect you to show them the process of how you found this job, why you are so interested in this job. Talk a bit more honestly with them, you know, and try to show them and prove them why you're different from others. That's about that, why you're different. But in most cases, if you have a good CV already, you don't even need cover and motivation letter. And I've applied to tens of, you know, job positions. They record a cover motivation letter, but I didn't add anything. I didn't add any motivational letter or cover letter, but um, but they gave me the interview round. And also, final step would be like sending the application, which I guess is the easiest part. But then after that, you need to continue some other things as well. You need to be in touch with them. For instance, after 1 week, there's this question: do I need to have a follow-up email, for instance? And how long after when I applied? And in most cases, I said I will don't do that. Okay, because it ruins your confidence. So we can talk about that, but this is the big picture of what you need to do. And yes, it can be hard, but it's not that also that hard as you think. And after a while, you need to you need to you know in the beginning it's difficult, but after some time, when you start learning all these tricks, actually it's kind of satisfying. It's interesting or exciting for you to do that. You just want to improve your CV step by step, and it feels good that you see that, okay, now I have one interview. Now they actually see me, and you get addicted to making your CV better, get addicted to applying. And I've seen a lot of people just get a job in 1 year, they start applying for other jobs because somehow they like it to apply for other jobs, and it's challenging. It's it's making you to be better than before. Anyway, I don't want to talk more than enough. So that was for this video. If it's useful for you, you know, it's not this kind of clickbait videos or um, just cool editing, because I think I don't even have that much time to actually edit this video that much. So you've heard a lot of pauses in the video. But I guess this is the right way to do it. You need to spend time. You need to um, watch this video even multiple times to process it, how it works, how the system works. But okay, I wanted to show you the actual stuff, but sorry, I think for the first video it's enough, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much.